Welcome to Excel video number 3, defining a range name. As we just went over in video 2, you can use a cell, an individual cell address, or in this case like B4 to G4, you can identify a row of cells, a column of cells, or in this case you can identify an array of cells across columns and rows by starting with the upper left corner and ending with the lower right corner, or cells D10 to G15. When you're working in Excel, it quite often is easier to use a range name to reference a group of cells rather than trying to remember what column and row the data that you're looking for is in. So I'm going to show you how to name a range. I'm highlighting the range that I want to name. I'm going to press the right click button on my mouse. And right here above hyperlink at the bottom of the list is something called Define Name. I'm going to click on this. And I'm going to make up a new name for these cells. And I'm going to call it Sample Array. I'm going to press OK. Now, when you move around the spreadsheet, let me also name one of these too. Let me name this. I'm going to highlight the entire column, right click, define name, and call this Sample Column. And we'll do the same thing up here with row. Right click, define name, sample row. You can also name an individual cell, and that may come in useful at some point to do that when you're working with an input cell, for example. You could name a cell, define name, input cell. And then anywhere else in the spreadsheet, if this is the cell in which you're having a piece of information entered, anywhere else in the spreadsheet you can just call this the input cell without having to remember what the address is. Now, a minute ago when I clicked on this cell it had B2 up here. Right now it shows C1. Now when I select B2, the name box no longer shows the formula address B2. It shows the range name input cell. Now when I come down here to B4, it doesn't show me the name I just gave this range. It's showing me that this cell is B4. However, if I select the entire range that we just named and I highlight exactly that range, it's going to show me the name, sample row, for that data. I come down here to B6, it still shows B6 because I haven't highlighted the entire column in the defined name sample column, which it now does. And again, I come over here and it shows me D10. But if I select the entire array that we named, it will show you sample array. Now, we just defined all these names, and unless you see them up here, you don't know what all the names are that you've named, all the range names that you have defined. And the best place to go to look at that is under the tab called Formulas. If you come over here, this is also a way to define the name. You can come over to Formulas, Define Name, and when you click on this, it's going to give you the same little window that we got by doing right click, define name. That's a shortcut to coming into Formulas, define name here. You also can click on this called Name Manager. And now it's going to show you, we named B2 input cell. We named D10 to G15 sample array. We named B6 to B20 sample column, and we named B4 to G4 sample row. And now you can edit and rename that range name. Now we'll just call this sample cell as an example. And when we go back into the name manager, it no longer says input cell, it says sample cell. These are alphabetically ordered. That's why what used to be at the top is now the second one, because I've renamed it. So basically you can look at all the names that you've already selected for your range names. You can edit them. And if you've set up something you don't want to have as a range name, you can just come in here, highlight it, and hit delete. Are you sure you want to delete this range name sample cell? We're going to say okay. It goes away. I'm going to close this and come back here. Now, when I'm on cell B2, it only shows B2 because we deleted the range name of sample cell, which had previously been input cell. So that is how you name cells, or an array can be a defined range name. These range names will come in handy when we start working on formulas. And our next video is about organizing worksheets. Thank you.